Hey students, in this video I'm going to explain how to write linear equations from slope-intercept to standard form. Before we start, I want to just review that you should already have some experience or foundation of how to write standard form equations to slope-intercept equations. For example, 3x plus 8y equals 10. That's the standard form following ax plus by equals c. And you were taught to rewrite this as a y equals mx plus b form. So the steps for that were 3x plus 8y equals 10. Move the x to the other side by adding or subtracting. This leaves you with 8y equals these two, but we need to write them in mx plus b order, so negative 3x plus 10. And then we divide by 8 both sides to get the equation of y equals mx plus b. So negative 3/8 x plus 5/4. So now what we're going to do is start with the slope-intercept and work our way back to standard. In the notes we did in class, it was just remembering the rules. In order to have it as standard, we need to follow these rules where a in the front has to be positive, and a, b, and c are all numbers that are whole numbers, no fractions or decimals. So those are the rules for you to say this is my standard form. Number one, we have y equals negative 2/5 x, and we talked about fractions. We can get rid of fractions by inverse operation of the division of 5. Opposite of the division of 5, let's multiply times 5 to cancel that division. Also, if you think about what that means, is we're doing negative 2/5 times a whole number of 5, which is over 1. And when we multiply fractions, we multiply numerator times numerator, which will give us negative 10. Denominator times denominator, which will give us 5. And if we simplify negative 10 divided by 5, it gives us negative 2. So this negative 2 is actually the answer we get from the numerator after we cancel the denominator times itself. So what we're going to get here is negative 2x as an answer on this side. However, that 5, we're multiplying it times every part on the equation, including anything on the other side of the equal sign. So this gives you a 5y equals negative 2x. So to make this a standard form, we need to recall that the x and y are both on the left side of the equal sign. So we need to follow that rule. Here we have the x on the right side. So we're going to now cancel that on the right side by adding 2x. And we'll do the 2 one side, do to the other. Adding 2x cancels a negative 2x, and that leaves us with a 0. On this side, we will have x and y, not like terms, so we're going to write them in ax plus by equals c form. So 2x plus 5y equals 0. So we follow the form of ax plus by, there's 2x plus 5y equals c. It means it equals a value, so it equals 0. This is the standard form because a is positive and there's no whole numbers or fractions. On number 2, we have writing x equals 5 and x equals negative 5 into standard form. So if we draw our line and think about our goal is to have x and y on the left side. We right now have x on the left side and there's no y. So there's nothing that needs to be moved. I'm sorry, this is C. So because there's nothing left to be moved, you can say this is the simplest form of standard form in this example. Or if it bothers you that it's not following this format, we can move the x to the beginning, put a 0y because there's no y, and then put a negative 5 as your c value. This looks more standard, but that's not what you're going to see in the test or in future math lessons. You're just going to see this. On number 3, we have y equals 2x minus 3. So to turn this into standard, that x needs to go to the left side, minus 2x minus 2x. It cancels. And we have negative 2x plus y equals negative 3. So this looks almost standard. Ax plus by equals c. However, the a cannot be negative. To turn a negative into a positive, we can either multiply times negative 1 or divide by negative 1. But when you multiply times negative 1, you gotta multiply each part. So your answer will be the opposite of what you have on each one. So negative 2x becomes positive 2x because negative times negative is positive. The positive y becomes negative y because negative 1 times positive 1 is negative 1. And then the last part, this negative 3 becomes positive 3 because negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. So this is the standard form for number 3. Number 4 is a repetition of number 3 as far as steps go. So let's check that out. We need to move the x to the other side. So we add 2x on both sides, cancels, and this leaves you with the 1 on this side. These two are not like terms, so you're going to add 2x plus y equals 1. Following the template of ax plus by equals c, this is a standard already because a is positive and there's no fractions or decimals. So that was the process of converting slope-intercept to standard. So now that you know how to do this, in the inside of our notes, we practiced writing equations given a slope and y-intercept. And because it's a slope and y-intercept, it's easy to quickly write the slope-intercept form in y equals mx plus b form. We then now proceed and apply the skills we did here on the front to rewrite it in standard form. So I'll just go over 2 examples here. I'm going to do the slope of 3/5, so y equals 3/5 x, and the y-intercept of 5, so plus 5. This is how we write the equation of slope-intercept, so now we rewrite it in standard. There's a fraction, so we want to get rid of the division of 5 by multiplying times 5. And each part needs to be multiplied times 5. So we get 5y equals 3x plus 25. And once again, if we do this multiplication on the side of 3/5 times 5, 3/5 times 5 gives you 15 over 5, which gives you that 3 that we have right here. And then from there, we want to turn it into a standard by moving this 3x to the other side. Minus 3x minus 3x cancels. And you have negative 3x plus 5y equals 25. So to turn this into standard, we analyze a, and that's negative, so we want to turn it into a positive. Positive 3x, which means we got to turn these also into the opposites. Negative 5y equals negative 25. So this is the standard form for number 9. Let's do one more. Let's try number 12. Here we're going to have y equals 5/4 x plus 2. This fraction has a division of 4, so we're going to multiply times 4. And we're going to multiply each part. So we're going to get 4y equals 5x plus 8. And if you want to multiply this on the side, 5/4 times 4 over 1, that gives you 20 divided by 4, which gives you that 5 right there. Turn this into standard, we're going to move that x to the other side, so minus 5x, and we get negative 5x plus 4y equals 8. This 8 cannot be negative, so we're going to turn that into a positive 5x, which means we turn this into a negative 4y, and then this becomes a negative 8. And again, These are answers that you will get if you would have multiplied this times -1 each part. All right, so with those two examples, try the other two of writing standard form equations given a slope and y-intercept. For the last part of the video, I'm going to show you how to convert these point slope form equations into standard form. So point slope follows y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. And you need to have the skills to rewrite these equations into slope-intercept form and standard form. So the first thing you want to do is distribute that m into the parentheses. So you're going to have -3x minus 6. Bring this down and you get y minus 5. To turn this into slope-intercept, this -5 has to go. So we're going to add 5 to both sides. And we end up with y equals -3x minus 1. So this is the slope-intercept form, the mx plus b. Now we're going to turn this into standard form following the steps that we've done in the previous sections of the notes. So we're going to add 3x on both sides. That leaves you with 3x plus y equals -1. A is positive, there's no whole numbers, there's no fractions. So this leaves you with a standard form. Okay, let's do one more. Let's try this one right here. We're going to multiply 4/5 in. We're going to have 4/5 x, and then 4/5 times -5. It's a whole number. So 4 times -5 is -20. 5 times 1 is 5. -20 divided by 5 gives you -4. And you could have seen that right here because the division of 5 cancels with the multiplication of 5. So 4 is what you're left with. And then we write this as slope-intercept by moving the 1. This 1, we're going to subtract 1 from each side. And we have y equals 4/5 x minus 5. So this is the slope-intercept. And then from there, we're going to move the x. Well, actually, we're going to get rid of the fraction. Let's multiply this times 5 because it's dividing by 5. When you multiply each section, you're going to get 5y equals 4x minus 25. And then you move the x to the other side, and it just kind of repeats at this point where when you move the x to the other side and you have a negative, so I'm just going to follow right here. -4x plus 5y equals -25. And the a cannot be negative, so we're going to switch the symbols. And the answer is 4x minus 5y equals 25. All right, I hope this video helps you to see all the different ways that there are to write equations in standard form.